Okay, oh boy. Where do I start? This last 3 or 4 weeks has been a bit of a rough ride for me, health-wise, and it all started with an ambulance ride to emergency. After I'd been helping my son out on his house, doing a lot of physical labour, the last day I worked there was a full day of shoveling, digging, wheelbarrowing, and by the time I finished that day I was pretty well exhausted. And that following week, my muscles recovered. Now I had muscle aches and things like that, and after a couple of days that they recovered, but I didn't. And I don't know, I didn't know what was going on. Now I was physically, everything was feeling good, but I was just feeling really drained, weak, and just really like my nerves were really frayed, if that makes sense. Anyway, that all sort of settled down, and then my son needed a hand for to do some roofing work and pass roofing sheets up to him while he was working. And as I was doing it, I started to get started to sweat and started to get short of breath, and then started to feel weak, dizzy, and so I sort of sat down for a bit, and then my hands started to tingle, and just sort of like just a buzzing sensation through my arms. So I went and sat in the car for a bit, and my son kept working up on the roof, and then I started to get sort of chest pressure on my chest and was extending up my neck, and then I felt like I was going to pass out. So I called an ambulance because I've always been taught they are the key symptoms of a heart attack and you need to act quickly. So the ambulance came pretty quickly, and it was a MICA unit, which is a cardiac unit, fortunately. And so they, gave me the GTN tablet under the tongue, aspirin, hooked me up to an echocardiogram and just raced me straight to the hospital because I was having all the classic signs and symptoms. And both the ambulance guys and the staff at emergency said I did exactly the right thing. It was, classic signs. And so I got into hospital and I was just feeling, my whole body was just sort of buzzing and I just felt really weak. And they did a blood test for troponin, which measures if your heart's been damaged. Then what they do is they wait 4 or 5 hours and do that same test again to see if the heart has been damaged sort of afterwards. It can take a little bit of time to come on. And long story short, fortunately I didn't have a heart attack, but there was it was showing an underlying problem. My blood tests, they said, were all good, all normal, but that kicked off a sequence of events where I had to go see my cardiologist, who then booked me in for a CT scan angiogram. That's where they put contrast dye into your system and scan your arteries. And I also had an echocardiogram, which is ultrasound on the heart, and went and saw my cardiologist after those two tests, and the CT angiogram showed that one of my key arteries had a potentially 50 to 75% narrowing, which is serious, so it's not good. So he then booked me straight away in for an angiogram, which is where they put a line up through your wrist, up to your arm, into your arteries and have a look to see what's actually going on. And what they do is they put the line in, and you're awake during the procedure, just lying on the table, and they can tell there and then if I need to put a stent in. Now, it was highly probable that I was going to need a stent from what he was seeing, but fortunately, and I dodged it by about that much, I didn't need a stent, but he said it was borderline whether he should stent or not. So he chose not to do a stent, and we're going to try and sort of treat it with medication. So I'm on blood thinners like aspirin and statins now. I've gone from a few months ago of not having any medication, and I've always been a sort of person that even if I have a headache, I delay having Panadol or paracetamol because I just don't like taking medication if I don't need to. But now I'm on 3 tablets a day, so it's completely changed. But these tablets could save my life, so I need to be on them. Now, when I was in having the angiogram procedure, my cardiologist said that the blood test had shown that I was low in phosphates, and he was referring me to a specialist or a physician to talk about that. So I had that appointment yesterday, and he was explaining what low phosphate means, and basically your body needs phosphate to replenish your energy supplies, to make new DNA, I think he said, and new cells. And if you don't have enough phosphate, your body can't do that. So you're just in a state of weakness, and it's actually damaging long term to the cells because you're not making new cells, and you're not repairing damaged cells. So we need to get that looked at straight away, hence the blood tests. And he's doing a suite of other tests as well. He said it could be this just like was an erroneous test, and I'm hoping that's the case, and he's hoping that's the case. And I could have a deficiency in something else which is causing this, like vitamin D, for instance. But if it is a case that it is, I again test low in phosphate. He said the most likely culprit is a benign tumour somewhere in my body, and we've got to find out where it is, and that tumour is robbing my bloodstream of phosphorus or phosphate. So I won't know the results of this next round of blood tests till Monday. I've got to ring up Monday to see how that went, and then we go from there. If it is a benign tumour, then it's got to be cut out because my body is not going to function properly while it's still in there. And we've got to find out what's going on. So I still feel weak and just like low energy. So I'm trying to do things that don't expend energy to preserve, if I am low in phosphate, to preserve the phosphate I've got, so that my body can try and function near normally. And I'll wait and see what happens with these tests. I wasn't planning to make this video. I don't even know if I'm going to publish this video on the channel. But I thought I'd just sit down and put down my thoughts and let you know what's going on. So I will try and make videos when I've got the energy to do so. But I may have more hospital stays, or I might get super lucky and we can treat this with vitamin D supplements or whatever the deficiency is. It's been a real eye-opener for me. I certainly wasn't expecting this, and it's sort of come out of the blue. I think the heart issue is obviously a big concern, because I'm now on that process where it's just a matter of time, and it's all about trying to extend the time I have left, if you like, without trying to be too dramatic. And so it's going to be a management thing. And if I have seen online that people who have been on statins have actually reversed the narrowing or the plaque build up in their arteries to a certain extent. You can't get rid of it, but just sort of eased it. That might be enough to just keep things as they are, which would be fantastic. I've made big changes to my diet. Not that I had a bad diet, but I've cut out, I've kept the good stuff and cut out the rubbish. Since I started being on this journey, I've dropped about Well, I was 91 kilos, I'm now 83, so I've dropped probably about 8 kilos in weight, which is, multiplied it by 2.2 to get pounds. So what are we, 17 or 18 pounds. But I'm putting it down to diet because I have made some big changes. I just seeing where this all goes. Now, thankfully, we had ambulance insurance because that one ambulance ride was $3,000, and now I'm just dreading the checking the post office box for the bills that are just coming in at the moment. But we have a bit of private health insurance, and I think we'll be able to get around things as long as it doesn't keep going on and on and on, which is I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know where I'm at, what's happening, and the health issues I'm dealing with at the moment. As I said, I'll keep trying to make videos when I've got the energy, and I'll keep you guys posted and informed. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. That's if I post this video, and until next time, bye for now.